We have some breaking news now. Federal police have released one of the 4 men arrested over that plot to bring down a passenger plane. 3 others, of course, remain in custody, but the release of the 50-year-old without charge comes after Etihad Airways did confirm that it is the airline at the centre of the probe. Reports this morning say that the particular flight of the alleged terror cell intended target was changed at the very last minute. While police investigate, experts are warning our airports do have some big gaps in their security. 7 News has been told X-ray and other technological equipment at Australian airports is somewhere around 15 years behind Europe and America. That is a very frightening thought. Tony Sheldon from the Transport Workers Union joins us now from Sydney Airport. Good morning, Tony. You are particularly concerned about staff at Australian airports. There have been suggestions that many of them don't face adequate background checks, police checks and the like. What security threat do you think that they pose?
Well, we've got a serious concern, and that is that because of low pay and high turnover, we have about 20% on average across our aviation industry that from 6 to 8 weeks have no security checks from ASIO or the Federal Police, and there is no training on skills about identifying both potential terrorist risks, let alone criminal activity. Now, we only have 2 companies that actually have agreements where the workforce have demanded in negotiations to have security training. The only 2 companies are Virgin and Alpha Catering that provide and are implementing security training. Every other company in our aviation industry at our airports around the country are not security trained.
Tony,
it's a high risk cocktail.
It certainly is a high risk cocktail. That seems astounding to me that in 2017 we're talking no police checks, no ASIO checks at all. For what? How many workers?
Well, when you're talking about literally over a turnover in a year, you can be talking about up to 8,000 to 10,000 people who don't have security checks for 6 to 8 weeks. You're talking about companies that are on airside. You know, straight behind me now, there's been improvements in security checks for passengers here, but behind the scenes, we have a dangerous cocktail of lack of security checks, high turnover of staff, low pay, which is causing that turnover, and of course then we've not got people being trained. It's a very dangerous cocktail.
There are calls, of course, for IDs for any passengers boarding flights as well now. You would hope that the training of workers really steps up too. There has been a big focus, Tony, on Australia's large airports, of course, but I want to ask you about regional ones. There are some across this country where you can still literally get on a flight without having your hand luggage checked. It happened to me this week.
Well, you're absolutely right. You know, we've got planes flying in and out of our capital cities, out of major regional airports that have no security checks, that do not have any screening, even the basic screening for passengers, let alone the failings for employees with lack of training. But also we've got fences around many of those airports to keep cattle out rather than to keep potential terrorists out. You know, there is need for a substantial step up in security arrangements behind the scenes, not just for the politicians in front of us, and for airport owners to start taking responsibility for the high turnover, low pay, poor training and lack of security arrangements, particularly when it comes to freight.
Let's hope for an overhaul that is more than just window dressing. Tony Sheldon from the Transport Workers Union, thank you very much.